More regularly, we should set up a different one.
And we're live.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. What am I not allowed to say?
Dude, your mic immediately went to shit.
That was not a good introduction. Hello to anyone who's watching. First episode of our little CG 3D podcast we're calling the Topology Tavern. I'm Lumoize, Loom, Brendon, whatever you want to call me. I'm the guy hosting. With me, I have the other three hopeful hosts for this. We have Polly.
Hi, I'm Polygone.
Good.
He's a little bitch.
We have Thor.
Hi.
And we have Fingerman.
Is I.
Who sounds in the background, but I assure you he's not. This is just a podcast about anything 3D CG related or anything that we decide to talk about with the hour we give ourselves. While we talk, we all are going to be working on our own little projects. Got me. You got whatever Finger's doing.
Whatever he does.
Whatever he does. We also have whatever the hell Thor is doing.
I'm doing photogrammetry.
Oh, fun. What are you photogrammetrying?
A stage.
Oh, you're doing like a 360 panogram? Not just an object? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's what we'll be doing. We're pretty loose for this first one as to what we're going to talk about, but
Introduce us. What are we doing here?
Fair enough. Should we do introductions first, or what the topic for this podcast is going to be? We're very professional.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're professionals, by the way. We work in the industry for some reason.
Very surprising. But
Except
us
for me.
idiots all work.
Except for me.
Oh yeah. If you spent your effort actually making a project, every company in the world want to hire you. Instead, you make monstrosities. It's upsetting how good you are. I guess by introduction. So I guess I'm the newest. I'm definitely the newest quote unquote professional here. I was hired really recently by Blizzard as a level designer. Polly, you want to introduce your professional background?
Hi, I've worked on commercials and a few video games, and I'm currently kind of hired by Apple, but also that I haven't started yet. So that's the thing.
Damn you, COVID. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
due
now
to COVID.
yeah, now Thor, you try to explain what you're doing without breaking 5 million NDAs.
Well, I am the most professional of all of us, but I'm also the dumbest.
Yep.
And I use video games to make movies.
5 years ago, you would sound like a complete like completely just bullshitting what you're doing.
Yeah. So basically I think I would say my role is I'm a virtual production technical director.
Yeah, that's what
Which,
you are.
which is a weird thing, but that's
Sounds
what
like
I
he's
do
still
and they pay
bullshitting what he
me.
does.
Yeah, it
know.
still sounds completely fake.
Yeah, but I get paid and I don't
Yeah.
even know what I do. Yeah, I've been hired by
Classic.
a lot of companies and I've worked on a lot of shit you've all seen, but I can't talk about.
I could never do what you do, man. I'm pretty good with keeping secrets and all that, but I don't think I could keep like multiple productions worth of work secret. Like I'd want to at least have something.
I have a piece of paper that threatens to sue me for $1 million.
Yeah.
It was like it read double my freaking my estimated contributions to the project, and I didn't know what that meant. And so they said, "Oh, that's roughly $900,000." Like, what?
Ooh, yeah.
What?
Yeah, don't.
And they're like, "Yeah,
Can I
yeah,
sue you for $1 million?
I mean, you can try, but I only have a computer and a shitty apartment, so you're not gonna get
Ooh, I'll take
much."
both.
Take both. Take my
I'll take
beast to a
both.
supercomputer and my drug-riddled apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Fingerman.
What was that?
That was Fingerman.
Well, that's about the best introduction or tradition we can get. Fingerman, what do you do?
I have no idea. I do things. I'm trying to figure out what I will do.
He'd have to kill us if we told him.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
In real words, he is an extremely talented sculptor and modeler, but spends his time making very disturbing imagery instead of actually doing things that'll get him hired.
Yeah,
mean,
if only we had a
that's
way
like-
to show like what the fuck he's done.
I mean, I could probably
so,
pull some
okay,
screenshots up, but we should probably save that for like a 3-hour special.
Yeah. Just to give a little rundown, basically, he made a anatomically correct like human, but if it was a finger, and then he made a what was it a duck man?
He
Man,
made a man duck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
He's
I-
also
It
made
sound-
an avocado as a main character in a video game.
yeah.
Yes, he did. And that's about 1% of the kind of shit he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's about like 90% of what I've done, though, to be honest.
Even if that's true, the fact is that it was too good, man. It looked way too good. It's so upsetting.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I look back on like the Fingerman that I have, like the one that I posted, and I was like, oh, this does not look anatomically correct.
Now it's time to kill my computer's processor.
What are you gonna? Oh, are you about to pull the trigger?
Ooh, man, it
Oh,
did
man.
not like that.
Oh.
Let's see what this baby can do. Oh yeah, we have a topic.
We do have a topic. I just wanted to get the introductions out of the way. So, our topic for today, we figured we might as well start with a banger of a topic, is 3D modeling and CG education, and where it stands at the moment and what we think about it.
I'll let somebody
Hmm.
else start this because I'll butt in.
Oh, who would
I'll-
want to
Yeah.
start this? The person who hasn't been to college yet, the two college dropouts, or the college graduate from the best CG college?
Listen.
We're perfectly qualified.
Yeah,
That's why I
listen.
said I'll cut in. I'll cut somebody off to start.
Yeah.
You went to school for something, Lumoize. I failed.
Lumoize didn't go to school.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I was
he
in
had to go to
college
school.
for 3 semesters.
Oh yeah, you were playing
That's
the flute or something. That's right.
That's one more than me.
What'd you play? The oboe?
Played the contrabass, you jackets.
You played the skin flute.
Yeah. Don't worry about the time. He played a big violin, basically.
Oh my god. You're such a dickhead.
He played the largest, world's smallest.
Anyway, so CG in 3D colleges has always been an interesting topic. Even if I did stop giggling. On a serious note, though, it's a topic that I'm really passionate about as someone who is so fresh off the rock of actually being in college, and I constantly end up assisting people who are seniors or graduating after they graduate, and I see a lot of. I personally have a lot of problems with modern day 3D teachings, especially with schools that don't specialize in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So I'd say like 99.5% of the schools that are advertised as art schools or 3D schools are just like they don't set out to be money sinks, but they're just money sinks.
yeah,
Mostly what you're looking for when you go to a 3D school is going to be how good are the teachers at their job and how current is their knowledge.
I
And
think
then
that second thing is the most important thing, honestly.
I mean that too. I mean they could have been a god, but if they haven't worked for
Yeah,
14 years.
I mean, I knew a guy that he worked for Blizzard for about 10 years doing just kind of reading, and he's like
Is
a
he
pretty good guy. Well, he doesn't work there anymore. But he for a semester he had nothing to do, so he applied to be a 3D art teacher.
Thor. Your computer is not a fan of you talking and doing what you're doing at the same time, so you're really glitchy.
Oh man, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Cancel.
Okay, and instantly you go from to oh hey cancel. It's instant.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
that better?
okay, so
Yep.
I stopped.
go ahead.
All right. So
ahead.
continue with what you were saying now that we can actually understand what you're doing.
Where did I leave off?
So just you Blizzard employee, you knew an old Blizzard employee.
Oh, I knew a guy that he worked for Blizzard for about 10 years doing he was just like doing like lackey work, like 3D art occasionally. He would do hard surface and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to teach at it might have been Art Center.
Mhm.
It was a really prestigious one, but it was only for like a semester. And he said basically it's filled with people who think they're much better at their job than they are.
Yeah.
And it's also a thing where it's a lot of people who really are good, but they're getting taught the wrong things.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what it always comes down to, because I've helped a couple of people, one guy in particular who was a college graduate, and he was an amazing artist, but he was never really taught how to use Maya properly, and after about a month of tutoring, actually teaching him how to use Maya, he was able to finally find a job. To which he did an art test where they said, the stuff you're making is actually too good for our engine, so can you dumb it down a bit? And I think the main issue really is just it's thinking you know more than you do. That's definitely an issue. But the more is it is just outdated information,
Mhm.
because this industry is so rapidly changing. I mean, every 5 years there's a different set of software pretty much being used for at least one thing, if not multiple.
Yeah, Houdini basically didn't really exist 5-6 years ago
And
in like
neither did
mainstream.
Substance, and Substance is pretty much the 3D texturing program now.
Well,
Yeah.
for a small period of time, it was Quixel, of all
Well,
things.
yeah.
Well,
Well, because Quixel basically was Substance Light that ran inside of Photoshop. In
Yeah, and it was
Photoshop, what
shitty.
yeah, Photoshop was what like a lot of game assets were still being textured in. It was just it was Photoshop for some reason.
Yeah,
Photoshop, 3D Coat,
it was.
and then Mari, but Mari was just like super expensive for just game assets.
mhm, it really was. 'Cause, I mean,
Yeah,
I got
like
originally thought that you would use Photoshop for everything texturing, because that's
Hmm.
what it was when my first teacher was using it. It was make your UVs extremely easy to understand because someone's gonna have to go in and manually make all the textures in Photoshop. And PBR wasn't even a thing. No one was talking about unless you were working on the big CG movies.
Yeah, when I was in school, PBR was like a thing that they were like, shh, nobody knows about it. Like
yeah, I remember.
like
I remember
we're
roughly around then too. It was
yeah,
weird.
like we're popping off. We know PBR, and we learned texturing inside of Photoshop, and then Quixel came out like near the end of when I was going to school. But we were already using Mari for most of our texturing. But everybody was like flipping out. They're like, "Holy crap! I can like
Like
use a whole
metal.
material and texture it once." They're like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, baby."
Yeah, you can use a single UV sheet laid out in almost any way you want, and it
Yeah,
would somehow work.
you don't have to worry about any layout issues, and you don't have to anything like that.
Yeah, I mean that's what Mari was, but Mari was uh, geared heavily towards just like high resolution movie assets. Um, Even Mudbox was used for some texturing for some time.
Uh, yeah, Mudbox. For all I've seen, it was a really good, just kind of skin texturing or like non-fabric, non-metallic texturing
Yeah,
thing.
Mhm.
before Substance came out, I was actually using Mudbox for a lot of for baking. It had a really good
Yeah,
baking engine. Mari
I've
Amari was
seen.
obviously better, but Mudbox was just like really quick to throw things in and pull it out.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do like lizards, dinosaurs, like squids,
Yeah.
like stuff that has a lot of texture, but it's
Hmm.
also natural.
Yeah.
But then Substance came around and like, hey guys, fuck you. We're doing this way now.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And
I
it's
mean, Mari's still mostly used for movie stuff, but background assets, um, and kind of like super low budget films, they're using Substance just because it's so easy to work with. But the resolution that you can work with it with inside Substance is limited to pretty much 4K. Like 8K is what like a
you can
developer preview right
you
now.
can export as 8K, but you can't work
Oh,
in 8K.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Mari you can texture in like 16K kind of stuff. And you can do it over multiple UV maps, like 50 at a time kind of thing.
they do now have UDIMs and Substance as well, but I didn't test it.
Yeah, they just Substance just got the new feature. A couple weeks ago or a couple months ago?
For what,
Painting
sorry?
over UV themes.
Oh, yeah, that was like less than a month
Oh,
ago.
Yeah, like fucking finally.
Is it really?
It's like how it took ZBrush 14 years to figure out how to get a XYZ and like rotation axis gizmo.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my goodness.
But like, anyway, going back to the original thing, is like that's the reason that you really have to. It's not really any fault of any of the professors who are trying to teach it, but when you're teaching, you have a hard time keeping up with the changes because you're not working with it. So then,
Yeah.
even
yeah,
if you're just teaching for 3 or 4 years, by the time you're getting near the end of that, things have changed,
Hmm.
and suddenly what you're teaching is out of date information.
Yeah. So
yeah.
like
I
when
was.
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was seeing stuff like that already, where people would come out with like portfolios of like, yeah, we use this new program as of 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden it's outdated.
Yeah,
It was
it's
like,
crazy.
okay, yeah,
And
like it's also a stupid fucking thing where I never really got this, but when people would go to art schools, they would all do the same stuff. And so,
What do you
like,
mean by that?
whenever it was like a thing where you would always see very similar styles or very similar like portfolio pieces.
Oh, like when one school only teaches like one single art style.
Yeah, and so like you'll
I,
see a lot of realistic like guns and swords and knives.
it's probably their homework was like go make a gun, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have much freedom to kind of choose what their project
Make a
entailed.
hard surface object, and they only really know poly modeling, so they're gonna make a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
and
mean, when you're looking for schools, most of the stuff you kind of want to look for is 100% the teachers, but the teachers that you're going to find, you're going to need to look for an area that has like a big entertainment industry within it, like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Vancouver, British Columbia. There's somewhere in there.
London, that's a big one too.
Yeah, London has a big one. Just because the talent pool that they can pull from in like other areas isn't going to be very large,
Mhm.
and you're going to want the most current information. So if you can find a school that's in a big entertainment area, it's probably going to be teachers that are just looking for a year or two off to kind of relax a little bit. Maybe they had a kid, or even like my school would be, they would go to work and they would drive from work to our school and teach us, and they'd be like, hey, check out this cool thing that we just did at work
Mhm.
today, like this new thing we just figured out today. I'm going to teach you guys.
Yeah, that was
So
a good thing because I don't think you've said exactly which school did you go to.
I went to Noman in Hollywood for
Goody two
from
shoes.
2014 to 2017.
Noman is it's interesting because from a lot of people I hear it's, the number one CG 3D school, but
Yeah.
at the same time people who I know are very into the industry and very good have also never heard of it. So it's a really
Okay.
weird
Yeah,
thing that it's
it
cuz it's extremely localized
Well,
from what I
I
can
can
tell.
explain that. So Noman only accepts within their there's two different programs now. They have a accreditation program where you can get an actual bachelor's degree, and then they have the certificate program, which is what I did, and is a significantly better program at the school. Just because if you don't have a master's degree, you can't teach people to get a bachelor's degree,
Mm.
and a lot of the teachers don't have master's degrees. So if anybody's going to Noman, get the certificate program. But basically, like, yeah, it's just it's just way better going to that kind of school.
yeah, like you could do a lot without being a student. Like a lot of colleges, they offer 3D kind of courses,
Yeah.
but they're not really classes. They're just kind
Mhm.
of like lectures
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you just kind of sit in and learn the basics of it.
And
Uh,
honestly, I
And
feel that if that's the only thing they offer, it's worth your time more to see if you really do still want to go to school, to see if you can reach out to your art professor or whatever and see if you can elect to do a self study instead.
yeah. Oh, so the reason why Noman's kind of like unknown
Oh
to
yeah.
some people is in the certificate program, they only accept 13 people every semester.
Mm. Yeah, that'll do
So
it.
there's a very low amount of people that are going to the school and a low amount of people that are coming out, but everybody that comes out is highly skilled and they all get jobs. So if you like, that's a kind of school that if you can get in, you go, and then you come out pretty baller in skill. Not the like
yeah,
one part, but like
Thank you for the follow.
like
Try to have those on.
it it's a it's a thing too where you don't meet many people who went to Noman. It's
yeah.
like people are more familiar with their like workshops and their online classes.
Oops.
Hmm.
What'd you do?
Especially in
I
games.
transitioned without actually changing the screen or anything, so it just wiped the screen.
So I
But
mean, most Noman students are working in like enormous studios like Pixar, ILM, Sony Santa Monica, Blizzard. Like that's where
and
they go.
I'll
Yeah.
and I will also say I'm not a proponent of going to school.
Oh no no no
I
no no
am
no.
yeah, I am the one of the people that says, listen, screw going to school, learn what you can by yourself, take online classes, spend $500 take the Gnomon online classes, or take Art Center online classes, or take freaking
Yeah.
whatever Blender Guru tutorials you can find.
Don't do
Learn
that.
that way.
No, you do that.
Yeah. Don't do that. Nobody likes Blender.
Oh god.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Episode
god.
episode 3 or 4, whatever the podcast. But yeah, so take whatever classes you can outside of a school. Maybe take 1 or 2 courses that are cheaper to go to. Don't become a student. That's a lot of debt you don't need, and it's also because this is not a high-paying industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not.
Well, it
Well,
can be.
It
But
can,
It can
be,
be
but
it can
you
be for
won't be
me.
getting that much to begin with unless you get very lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
so-
gonna get $2 or $3 over minimum wage, and you got to pay off a student loan.
there's only a few schools worth going to. Gnomond's one of them. Vancouver Film School's one of them. Think Tank, Savannah School of Art and Design. There's one in London.
There's one in like Taiwan or Thailand. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the weird. It's like the Gnomon of that area too.
Yeah, I mean, but there's just in perspective, there's less than 10 art schools for 3D that are worth even spending your money. If you're not going to go to one of the 10, then it's much better to just spend like $2,500 kind of getting tutorials and maybe even paying some people for personal like one-on-one tutoring. Just because in the entertainment industry, nobody cares about if you have a PhD, whether you have a master's, bachelor's degree, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I've straight
Make a
up
pretty picture or not.
I've straight up dropped my college like education that I got like the couple months I was there. I dropped that from my resume like the second I got a good job.
yeah.
And immediately they see, oh, this guy worked as a senior tech artist at this company. I
Mhm.
know the name of that company. It becomes as profitable to me to have just that as if I had listed a 4-year university where I got a master's degree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't care. That's something I wanted to bring up because one of the reasons I want to bring it up is because recently I was helping out a senior um from I don't remember what school. It doesn't even really matter.
Senior citizen.
No, a senior in college.
Okay.
And she was having a lot of struggles, and I was working with her, and um I started asking her questions about what she knew about the 3D and what she had been taught. And while up until this point, I've gone along with a lot of the time the professors are very good, they just have outdated information. And I think a lot of times that is the case. But there's also times when the professor just isn't good or just tells straight up lies, whether or not they mean to or not. Because a couple of things she was told was one, that you had to have an education with a degree of some kind if you wanted any type of 3D job. And just hearing her say that fucking baffled me.
I'd have to say that may have been kind of shoved by a school that gives her a degree.
It might
'Cause
be.
if she talked to somebody who worked, was she talking to somebody who worked in the industry, or was she talking to her professor who worked at the college?
Professor worked at the college, but apparently
Okay.
he is a very good and was in the industry, but then again, that could mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, nobody can. It's can you make the pretty picture or not? That's how it is right now. It may have
Yeah.
been different back in the '90s when that guy worked, but
Yeah. And I have a lot of those problems with a lot of the things that they have to do. Because for instance, it's her second ever 3D class, and her
Mhm.
assignment, well, everyone's assignment was to in Maya, and they don't know any sculpting tools, to make a humanoid model and then UV unwrap it. They've never used any kind of sculpting tools. They don't know how to do anything like that, and the only thing they've UV unwrapped up until now was buildings. And they were expected to model a humanoid model in Maya hard surface and then UV unwrap it.
I mean, that sounds very par for the course for a college. I mean,
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. That's the problem.
now, I
That
mean,
sounds that sounds like something that you would get asked to do like if you were like a junior artist somewhere. Like, hey
Yeah.
man, I need you to bust out this thing, unwrap it, and have it done by tomorrow. It's like, okay.
yeah,
But for them, it's just like
that's like their
they don't
week
know
homework.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I
week
mean,
homework.
it just like being taught like that is very like it's like if an alien tried to figure out how to use 3D and then he was teaching like other aliens how to use it. It's
You
just
see, yeah.
it's the wrong direction. They don't have the right fundamentals to move forward, and they're moving too fast into more advanced techniques that they don't need to be doing.
Yeah.
If they were, if they were provided a model that was like the teacher made it, and he's like, okay, here's this model, go ahead, and this week's homework is to make good UVs with this model. That might be a good homework assignment, but
It could be.
to make them sculpt something when they haven't done sculpting before, and then get the right topology, and then like edge flow and like density correct, that's a pain in the ass. That's something
Yeah.
that's more hard to grasp than just like, I made some buildings, and then you jump all the way to humans and unwrap it. That's some straight bullshit right there.
It really is, and it irritated me
Yeah.
because one of the things that 3D artists, I don't know if this is a generally accepted thing or just something that I've discovered, but I think the most valuable and the easiest thing to lose as a 3D artist or any artist in general is any semblance of confidence. Because if
Mhm.
you lose your confidence, you don't feel like continuing, and that's when you drop out or find a new career path.
Yeah.
And if you're asked to do these things that the professor's like, oh, you can do this easy. And if you can't find a way to do it, even if everyone else around you also can't do it, it'll almost always make you doubt yourself and you'll lose your confidence. And then that's how you lose people in the industry who could have been really, really good if they had the right teaching.
I know. We almost lost you, Lumoize.
Yeah, I almost fucking dropped out because I was just feeling so horrible about everything. Weren't for the fact that
I know. You never finished my homework.
yeah. Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Lumoize took a class from me, and he had homework for week 1. He never finished it.
Oh, I finished
Yeah.
week 1's homework. It was week 2.
Oh.
Yeah. It's always really funny when you hear about these people that they went to these schools or they're self-taught,
Mhm.
and you always come out of like learning this new thing thinking you're such hot shit.
Uh-huh.
But also you need to realize that there are people much more experienced than you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, even me myself, I feel like I'm garbage half the time when I see
Oh yeah.
my old teachers just like plopping out these models that are just like immaculate with like perfect topology, perfect like fucking textures. I'm just like, oh man, I'm garbage. But then everybody tells me I'm pretty good, so I
Yeah.
kind of like level out in the middle where I'm like, I guess I have to be okay, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's a
another big thing is just imposter syndrome.
it's
Yeah.
also where you don't have to be good at everything. I am probably one of the worst modelers on the mod team. I am shitty at modeling, but I excel in the technical aspect
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
where
all have our
I can
skills.
tell them to do like all the art shit. They pay me to make it work.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Honestly, I
I
think
And
think
that's way more valuable.
I just realized, yeah, I suck at this, but I'm good with computers. I can code. I can understand things that normal people might seem a little bit difficult.
hmm
And so it's just like it's a thing where people need to realize that they need to limit themselves to one really good thing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get a job taking a concept to a final polished render in the industry.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
And I think
You're gonna
that's
get a job doing one step if you're in a big
another
studio.
problem with a lot of schools because there's a couple schools out there. The one that I'm most familiar with because it's about 30 minutes away is DigiPen, where they teach you the programming, the design, the audio, the
hmm
art, the layout, lighting. They teach you everything like that. And while that's the kind of education you want if you want to be a indie developer or something like that, because indie
hmm
is a lot different than AAA. But if you want a AAA studio, you're not going to get anything from that unless you then use that as an inspiration and then actually go somewhere else to focus on what you liked.
I almost went to DigiPen actually
Yeah.
because
Was it the price tag that set you off it?
no, it was the before I researched 3D schools, Digipum was the only one I knew, so I was going to go there, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then I looked up other schools. So like DigiPen seems like a really good school for the creativity in coming up with new and exciting game ideas, but the games that they create aren't visually appealing. I think it's more of a programming like game design school than it is a 3D school.
Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
go to um PAX every year, and because it's
Yeah.
right here in Seattle, they always have a nice exhibit and everything like that.
Look at fucking money bags over here going to PAX every year.
Hey.
It's not that expensive. But a lot of their games,
It is for us.
it's, yeah, it's
We have to go to
really
Seattle.
okay. Well, see, that's the difference. Anyway,
He has 2 sides on his bed. We can sleep on the other side. It's fine.
Can I sleep on the foot?
oh,
Yes.
you freak. But they have a lot of really fun, really creative games. And
Mhm.
I've never seen one that was 3D that didn't look horrible.
Well, yeah, their curriculum is mostly game design, and they have like 2 or 3 months of 3D training, and I think that's just so you don't have like cubes inside your game. You can actually like get a rig cobbled together and like get a model like thrown in. I think that's like the level that they really teach you.
Yeah,
But they do have a lot of like games that have become big games. Like
they do.
Portal was originally from DigiPen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Um,
yeah. No, it
it,
was I
it was
remember this. It
It
was a
was
shitty like
Vernacular
fantasy
Drop.
game.
It's
yes,
called
yes. It was
Vernacular Drop.
it looked like an Aztec kind of like old timey like thing.
Yeah.
It was definitely like a really good concept, and Valve purchased the IP from them, and I think he hired both of the people who worked on it. There's another
Yeah,
game that's like
he
one of
did.
my favorite games of all time that came from that school called Nitronic Rush, which turned into a game called Distance, and it's this like trippy racing game where you can like jump. Your car jumps, and you can like flip upside down, and then your car will like attach to the ceiling, and then like the track is
Ooh.
on the ceiling at that point. It's super cool.
Yeah. It also leads to a thing where like they bought the ideas to those companies. So like
Yes.
the Portal one, they had one mechanic that really stood out amongst a lot of them, where it was what is it? It was the portal system.
It was a
They
portal
had
system.
they had somehow worked that out, so it was a lot better than what other people had been doing. They
Mhm.
recognized it, and they're like, okay, if we get these guys on the team, we already have a working system that we can build on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of work, but I mean that's exactly what they're doing because Portal was so immensely successful.
Yeah.
Exactly what
Their
they do.
final in their senior year of that school, which it's only a 2-year school.
Yep.
Their final project has a grading scale based on how creative and innovative their game is.
Yep.
So you get some really cool stuff. There's a lot of like perspective games coming out of there. All of their games are actually free on their website if you go to it.
Yeah, and some of them are really fun. I mean, there's this one that's been there pretty much every single year because it's one of their biggest party games where
Yeah.
it's a 4-person party game and you're all attached to some kind of shape and you all have to work together to try to get to make sure the shape doesn't come in contact with things that'll kill you, while at the same time as an individual can get a better score by collecting things. So it's a matter of greed versus teamwork. And
Uh-huh.
like it's a really exciting game and it's there every year because it's so fun and they have tons of games like that. But if you're going there and you want to be a 3D artist, you're not going to be.
No.
Yeah.
Uh
Do we have an audience?
We have a couple people. We have some chats.
Do they want to ask a question?
Um, I don't know. Do they want to add a quest? Do I want to have a
Do they want
stroke?
to add a Do they want to add a wadada?
Uh,
Ah,
uh,
ah.
Fingerman, aren't
right.
you gonna be going to college next year?
I don't know. I think I'll probably just like I'm really confused as to what I want to do. So it's like, do I want to do characters or do I want to consider more technical stuff that would, yeah.
So
We just got a lot
yeah.
of listeners
So
right now, apparently.
So a
We
good
did.
way to figure that out, Fingerman, would actually be to go to one of these like really good 3D schools, because they'll start out teaching you kind of like basics, and then they work you more into modeling, and they'll teach you all the different types of modeling, and then you can kind of figure out which one you're into once you start popping out some projects. You know what I mean?
It's like I already know that if I do 3D, I'll probably go the character route since I feel like that's where my
Well,
mind is. But like,
here's the thing about like getting a job as like a character artist. It's really hard to start a job as your first job as a character artist. So if you're
Yeah.
looking to do characters, you need to be able to do props, because on movies and stuff, there's usually only a handful of character artists, and there's a fuck ton of
Yeah.
like background
So
prop artists making like potato sacks and like
so I think this is where I would probably come in, where I
Yeah.
actually have a little bit more film experience than a lot of other people that are in the 3D industry.
Mhm.
Where what Polygon says is basically spot on. I've worked on a couple different worked for a couple different studios doing film and TV and stuff like that. They had entire environment teams. They had one character artist
yeah,
because they just need one really good character artist to bust out all their hero models,
yeah,
and they just need people to populate the entire scene.
yeah. If you think of the Avengers, there's if you watch Iron Man, there's Iron Man and there's the villain and maybe like two other characters. So there's four characters.
And then
And
there's
even
5
then,
million procedurally generated CG people that you don't even need to touch.
yeah,
Yeah,
but then there's also this other thing where the main studio doing the project, they'll hire it out immediately. So if you get a job working for Disney, they're not going to hire you to model their hero props. They're going to bust it out to like mold 3D or something like that to give them their big hero assets.
There's a comment you guys made a while. So this is a question from them. There was a comment you guys made a while ago that it does not pay very well. Is there a reason for that? It looks like it takes a lot of practice, so it seems like it would be like a trade, so it would pay better.
it does pay well, but
So
it doesn't at the beginning.
yeah, like if as a job as a junior artist, you're going to get paid fuck all. But when you get towards a more senior or a more experienced position, that's when you start making more money.
Because for a lot of companies, if
Like,
you're a junior, you're a test. They're waiting to see if you can deliver on the kind of quality that they're looking for, and then after that, that's when they start treating you more like a
Person.
person.
yeah, like an actual like human being instead of an asset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Usually, where in LA, junior artists
yeah,
will start probably around 25, 27 an hour, which I mean
Mhm.
that's pretty good. Mid,
not
mid
enough to live in LA.
No,
it is. You can.
you can.
You can. You'll get.
I'm
I mean,
pretty sure that's a
you'll
man talking from experience.
yes, because that's what I made for a while. So I had that, and then 35 an hour is pretty good. That's like a mid level artist, and then you get more towards like senior when you're getting up in like 45, 50 plus kind of range.
And this is all hourly. A lot of the jobs are hourly. You're not really going to find many salary positions doing
Yeah.
You're
this.
gonna kind of want the hourly though, because overtime's a lot.
Yeah.
You ever heard of
So
crunch?
here's here's my overtime story where I was working for a place. I was making around 30 an hour. They had me on overtime for about 2 days, maybe. Just 2 days worth of overtime, couple hours. I was making over 60 an hour just doing my regular job when I was getting paid 30, I don't know, like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And because of that, a lot of the companies are really cracking down on trying to reduce crunch time. But no matter
Yeah.
what you are working on, there will be crunch. And while it will suck, your paycheck will be great.
Yeah, your paycheck is fat, but also you don't have a social life and your family
There-
hates you.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of studios or a couple studios that if there's like a big crunch for like a movie or a video game, when it's released, they'll give you like 2 weeks paid vacation kind of thing because they
Yeah.
want this work. And then, you get paid vacation and then you get to use all the money that you just saved up from crunching for a month or two. And you get to go on a nice little vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
or here's the big or. They fire you because they hired you for that project.
Yeah, that
That's
is
also
a
true.
thing to be cautious of.
But if you do a good job and you're a good artist and you did a good job on the project, they're not firing you because they don't like you. They're firing you because there's not going to be another project for a few months, and why would they pay you for a few months when there's no work?
It's kind of a shitty thing, but it is a thing.
I mean, it makes sense in a business sense, but because you did well, if you go to a new job and you're like, hey, I'd like to apply, and then you can put down your old work as a reference.
Yep.
And if you weren't a shitty employee, your boss will give you a good recommendation because they don't want you to not have a job.
Yeah,
They
they
just
just
don't.
couldn't afford
Yeah.
to keep you.
Yeah.
And also, it's also not up to your boss, like if they keep you or not. There's an entire
Oh
other
yeah,
like department.
it's
Like
it's
you can have a great relationship with your like boss and your team,
yeah,
but it doesn't really matter.
because like that
Yeah.
I experienced that firsthand because I was going into my story, I was an intern for many months with Blizzard before I got the job, and my lead straight told me that if it was up to him, I would have been hired a long time beforehand. But it took even after I got an extension for my internship, it still took a couple months after that until he was able to convince the people to hire me. Even though he really, really wanted to hire me sooner, it's
They
because
were
it's
trying
not
to
up to the leads or the bosses.
they're trying to keep a low salary.
Keep the intern low.
He doesn't know how much he's worth. Keep him low.
Yeah. Now you get to work in one of the freaking most expensive cities in California.
Mhm.
Man, I'm
Hope
happy.
that pay is worth it. You're gonna be spending it all on rent.
Yeah.
Freak-
He's gonna live in his car. It's fine.
I don't have a car.
Yeah. There's also a thing where a lot of studios in the really like busy areas like Santa Monica, Irvine, those kind of places, some people are paid so low they can't afford to live anywhere,
That's
and
not.
so
Well,
you'll come.
That's not true. They're trying to save money. But keep going.
Yeah, they're trying to say they can afford to live, but they're trying to more survive. Maybe just like a small period of time.
Yeah, I mean, some people even don't mind it because, like, so I know some people who work at Riot and they live in their Tesla because Riot has showers and
Oh yeah, that's
they have
yeah.
like areas where you can go and take naps. So like they can just sleep in their Tesla, wake up, go to work, and they're in Santa Monica. So after work, they can just go to the beach, go hang out at the bar, and then whenever they need to go to sleep, they just come back to the parking lot and sleep.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing too where there are some people that they used to live on the Pixar lot.
Yeah,
Uh
like an
and
RV.
they would live in vans and RVs, or there was even one guy that he literally had his car retrofitted to just it has a fold out mattress and a driver's seat.
Yeah,
And he just kind of slept in there, and I think he had like a subscription to like a 24-hour gym too.
yeah. Well, but those people aren't usually like, oh man, I can't fucking live. Like, I don't have enough money for an apartment. Usually, it's like I'm so dedicated to work, it's a waste of money for me to have an apartment because I'm only there for sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also not good.
That's also not a good mindset. Yeah, that's a thing to specify.
Well,
That's a horrible mindset.
that is the mindset that people have a lot of time. Is like on
Yeah.
Oh, I
weekend,
know. I
I'm gonna go to road
totally know
trips.
people that have that mindset.
Yeah,
I just don't
just
think it's healthy.
know anybody that works for a big enough company, you're gonna find people that act like that.
Yeah,
I
It's
that's almost me, but I want an apartment.
yeah. Like you can be as
no, no.
dedicated to your work as you want, but if you're so dedicated that you decide, I don't need a place to live, I don't know, man.
Nah, I'll hire you.
Yeah. What is this? Oh, this guy's question. They can't loan because they have student loans. A lot of the best people don't have student loans because they didn't go to college.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I paid off my student loans a couple months ago from 2017. So from Noman, I was able to get enough jobs just because like the school was like so nice or whatever and made me good at what I do to the point where I could just pay them off in 3 years. And it wasn't a low amount. Like it was
Yeah,
around
no
like a
one
six
isn't that cheap.
yeah,
That's
it was
something to
around
specify.
6 figures. So
Yeah, I still have student loans because I'm an idiot who just pays the minimum.
yeah, you are.
Yeah, it's an idiot.
Yeah, I
You
pay
pay
the
the
minimum because, well, it's also I don't have a huge number like some of you
yeah.
guys because I only went there for about half a year. But half a year at a 4-year university is still a lot of money.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
Noman costs as much as a 4 year university, but in 2 years.
Yeah, It's a thing, but I can freaking pay mine off. I'm not one of those people.
And what I just said about how much it costs, that's not a bad thing because again, I was able to pay it off in 3
Because you
years.
get
Like
more of a more worth of education than you would typically get from a university.
so most of the time when you come out when people are coming out of Nomen, they're being hired as like mid-level artists pushing like upper mid pushing like senior kind of shit. They're not
Yeah.
starting out at like $20 an hour. I took a job for 27 because it was with like a YouTube channel that I really enjoyed. But right after that job, I got a job
Corridor.
36. Yeah, Corridor Digital.
Yeah.
Lucky
I
But
ass.
mean, it's a thing where you can make a lot of money in this industry.
You
I know people
really can.
that I know people making around 75 an hour and
mhm.
they're just breezing through life.
As
One of
you do
my
when you're making $75 an hour.
one of my teachers, he doesn't work that many hours, but his hourly rate is enormous. But so he only works a couple hours a week, and he finishes his projects in 8 hours. Like he's a 3D concept artist, and he'll take a sphere and have his image of a concept, and he will make it into a textured, fully atomically correct, posed, textured, lit, photoshopped image in 8 hours. And this man costs like over $125 an hour.
But it's
So he
Yeah.
that's what companies will pay for that.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Uh
if you can finish something in one day and you cost $200 an hour, that's significantly more worth it to them to pay you for one day of work than it is to pay somebody $50 an hour for 4 days.
And even if it's not even a monetary thing, studios always end up working on a matter of time. So
Yes.
if you're
yeah.
faster, and even if it would cost them more to get your faster person, they will do that. And it's like
Hmm.
that for
Yeah.
basically anything they have: software, exporting or not exporting, offloading, anything like that. If it's faster, they don't care about money.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
There's
with
also a thing where they will just bring in people too. Like money is not an issue when you are a freaking massive company.
Yeah.
yeah, people always talk about how like Maya's so expensive, and I don't know how people can pay that. Companies
Oh
don't
yeah.
companies don't care about the $3,000 you have to pay for Maya. They pay $3,000 for plugins that go into Maya per person to be able to use.
Yeah, and it's even stupider where people say it's $3,000 a computer. It's not. They buy blocks of licenses, and they're just like, okay, we have 50 licenses, we have 30 computers. We'll save 20 licenses, give them to some other people who need them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at one of my other, I had a job at another place where I needed a specific program, and there was a free version that I wanted to use, and I needed permission. They're like, permission for this program? I'm like, okay, yeah. Send the request in and you'll probably get it. And it was like $500 for the paid version. An hour later, they're like, okay, here's the license.
Yep.
I'm like, license? I
Yep.
needed the free version for like a thing that would last me a day,
And they're like,
but
too bad.
instead they just bought a license.
Yeah. Because that's what they can do. And
Yeah.
that's what they care about. I mean, they don't care if it'll only be used for a day. Like, you have
Mhm.
the license. And part of that is also not because they want to, it's also because of the way licenses work. For a lot of software, it's like, it's free, and you will never run into it not being free unless. And that
Mhm.
unless is almost typically if you make X amount of dollars as a entity a year.
And
And
that's
Yeah.
that's specifically to let people have the program at home and like stay up with it,
mhm,
and kind of like learn. So like Maya, currently it's is 250 a year, or it's like 230 a year, which is less than $20 a month. Uh,
Yeah.
for it, and it's basically so that people will use Maya now, and when they go to studio, I mean they're already using Maya, but when they go to studios, the studio will be like, "Oh, what 3D program do you use?" And they say, "Oh, Maya," and they go, "Great." So Maya is trying to like keep their kind of lead in the industry by making it more accessible to people at home.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good thing they do where like they do like structural or like they do steps where they don't care if you're a little kid like learning the program for the first time or some dude making $1,000 a month. They
Mhm.
don't care because to them you're the same person. They care about the guy that's making $10,000 a month or the studio making $50 million a year. That's where they
Yeah.
get their money.
It's
Yeah.
like it's the question of like the meme of the internet is like, well, WinRAR. It's like, well, how do they make money if no one buys their program? It's like, well,
it.
if you're a company and one employee is caught using WinRAR and the company didn't pay for it, that's bad. That's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
bad for the company.
Their lawyers, if you think about like their lawyers' time costs the same whether they're trying to sue somebody for $1,000 or they're trying to sue a company for 50 million.
Mhm.
So how many lawsuits would they have to go through to equal that one company? A lot. It's not worth their time.
It's also a thing where they just don't care sometimes.
Sometimes
They
they don't
care
care.
like they want to catch the big company like breaking their
Yeah.
TOS or their licensing.
There is one company that cares no matter what.
Oh yeah.
The Foundry. They always care. Don't fuck with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Don't mess with them. You'll get a lawyer like letter sent to your house.
Yeah.
And it's
No
so
other
annoying.
company no
Boss.
other company does that. It's so I know somebody that they literally got a notarized letter that was like,
Mhm.
"Hey, you've been served." And he's like, "For what?" He looks at the thing. It's like, "Oh, piracy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Mari and Moto and what else? What other programs do they have that are Nuke?
Yeah,
Yep.
Nuke. Oh, Nuke is the biggest one for people.
Yeah.
That's what gets
Because
everybody.
it's the most expensive thing to offer, right?
It's
Yeah.
like 10,000.
Yep.
Yeah, and then people will just use it and they'll think, "Oh, cool, I have Nuke on my computer now."
And they're
Little do
like,
they know.
well,
Yeah.
Isn't
it's
there like
insane.
isn't there like a non-commercial version though? Anyways,
There is, but I think you can. It's a very low resolution that you're allowed to work in.
Yep.
Yeah.
1080p, which isn't that bad. I
I
suppose.
think it's less. I think it's 720.
No, I think it's
For
1080p.
Is it
it's
1080?
it's 1080, yeah.
Okay.
It's
I think
1080, but also a lot of professional studios don't use 1080 assets.
Most
Oh,
studios.
oh, this guy just posted all of their stuff. What is it? Nuke, Hero, Moto, Mari, Katana. Katana's another big one actually.
Yeah.
Is Katana big?
For
Is that
VR. What was
okay?
that?
I said was
Ocula.
Katana big?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Katana's another big one.
It is.
Nice.
But I haven't heard of anybody pirating Katana. Interesting.
Wait, what even is Katana?
Is it the game engine or is it the effects? Thor.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's I think it's the effects one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think theirs is the effects one, but the game one is some other company.
Mm-hmm.
I've never made that views before.
Anyway, we got really far off track, but
Bring it back, babe.
Bring us
bring it
back.
back.
Bring it back, oh great leader.
Don't
This fucker calls us his staff.
You are technically. If
Gonna
you could
kick your
think
ass.
of a
Sergeant.
professional-ish way to put all of the admin staff and admins, mods, and helpers, please tell me. And I'll
Senpai.
Anyway, we're ignoring anything coming out of Thor's mouth now.
That was some sweaty shit right there, Thor.
Oh, I can say anything I want now and they won't tell me no.
Amazing.
Download Blender. It's
Oh,
better.
No.
Liquidate your assets, buy
We,
lottery tickets.
oh god, we really are gonna have an episode about Blender, and that's gonna be an interesting one.
I got.
We're gonna Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna be leading that one because I know fuck all about Blender.
Here, I'm
Well,
gonna speak in Fingerman terms. Fingerman, I'm gonna nay on you when we do that episode.
ah,
Awesome. Swag nene sunglasses emoji.
oh no.
This is where we take control of the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm no longer sharing a screen.
Aw.
What?
He took away.
What?
No, my stuff, it froze and I haven't fixed it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just gonna cancel streaming my screen because it doesn't like me streaming Mushroom for some reason.
So you're bringing us back to the main topic there, Lumi?
Yeah. We covered
Oh.
mostly what I think to talk about in general. In summary, 3D art schools, unless they are a select few, it's more worth your time to go and maybe get a business degree or something and then do your own self-study on 3D using
If
tutorials.
if you want to get a business degree, if like your parents are pushing you to get a degree, business degree is a solid one to do.
Yeah.
If they're not pushing you to do it, just stay the fuck home and
Yeah.
make pretty pictures. But like to give you like an idea of how much we worked at Noman, it was minimum like an easy week for me was like 90 hours,
Yeah.
including classes. It
Um
was it was like I'd wake up at 8 a.m. and I'd stay up until 12:30 and fall asleep maybe at like 1:30, and then do it for 2 years in a row. And we had 11 weeks of classes. It was supposed to be 10 weeks, but it always ended up being 11. So it was 11 weeks of classes, and then we would have 2 weeks off. So it was a lot of
Yeah, it's very different from me, where I just kind of went straight into junior work, and I worked like 50-hour weeks.
yeah.
yeah.
And
We were doing like just learning for
I
two
think
years.
another thing is that we've been pushing the types of education stuff you can get. If you don't want to go to college at all, you don't have to. Like we're
Oh
not
yeah,
saying only
uh,
go to these fancy colleges if you want to be a 3D artist. No. Cuz me and Thor are great examples. We didn't do any kind of really education. I went to college, all I did was math and English prerequisites before I said screw this and dropped out.
I went
Y-
for computer science.
Yeah,
So yeah,
you can
pretty
there's so much information in terms of free tutorials out there, and that's how I learned everything I know today. Very
yeah.
little of what I know, like I've gotten some tutorships and tips and tricks from people like Connor and other people who I respect, but in
Oh,
He
general,
respects you.
shut up, everything that I've learned has been from free tutorials that you can just find online.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
I took
advantage
the very
Let's let Polly talk. I keep interrupting him.
the
I
advantage
know.
the advantage of the schools is basically you can get a lot of information straight from a source with like basically a amazing resource to ask questions to. So like with tutorials you have to do a lot of like your own research, and like if you run into issues you have to do a lot of your own research trying to figure out things.
Yep.
Going to the schools is nice because they teach you a lot of the most up to date of the schools that we're talking about. They teach you a lot of the most up to date information. If you run into issues, you can ask, the acting professional, and he'll get back to you in a couple hours, or maybe even, that same second because you're in the same room.
Yep.
It's basically like a really big boost board for you to go onto. You learn a lot really quickly in those schools, but you can learn it all on your own. It's just like, do you want to start working quicker, or do you want to start working a little bit later and not have to go to school?
Yeah. And I mean, slight self promotion time. The biggest issue with self teaching is just that you don't typically, a lot of times you won't have someone to be like, hey, um I think I broke something, I don't know what I did, do you know what I did? You don't typically
Mhm.
get that, and that's part of the reason why I'm really happy and proud of the server, um
Oh,
because
The 3D modeling server.
yes, I assume most people who are here are from that. If we don't know, um, the Topology Tavern podcast, the Alpha Channel YouTube, which is starting up soon, and the 3D modeling Discord, and the 3D modeling Reddit are all one group. We're all hosted by the same people. And in this instance, I'm talking about the Discord server, which is technically a thing that I run, and I'm really happy and proud of it because it gives people like me who were exactly like that. I was doing tutorial after tutorial, and anytime I broke something, I would spend 3 to 4 hours going through forums trying to fix the issue. With this
mhm.
Discord, while you will still have to do that sometimes, a lot of the things that are more common issues that you just don't know about, someone here can be able to help you almost all the time, and that's the thing that I'm really happy about the server, is that for people who want to be self-taught, it's perfect for them, and that's why
Yeah.
I continue trying to make it better and easier for those people.
Yeah, because we're basically a lot of professionals who just kind of like see some like little kid learning Blender for the first time or learning Unreal for the first time,
Mhm.
and they're like, "How do I do this one thing?" And all it takes is us saying, "All right, Control C, Control V." There you go. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that information for that person, if we weren't there, could easily take them forever because they just don't know, like, if you're in Maya, this happened to me a couple times when I was really, really new. You can press B and turn on soft selection, and suddenly
Mhm.
everything's going weird. Well, now that I know it's soft selection, it's easy. But at the time, I had no idea what it was called. I didn't know where the tool menu was. I didn't know it was called soft selection. So I just Google, why are all my vertices red in Maya? Why are the edges yellow? And you can't find the answer like that.
No.
Once you
I
know what it's called, it's easy.
yeah. Hitting the G button. Oh fuck! It did the last thing I just did. What is
Yeah,
that? What?
and
Why?
you're just
Why
like,
is my mesh round?
Why is
Yeah,
my mesh
exactly.
round?
Why you press 3 and you're like, what's ah ah ah.
You press 2, and then your head explodes.
Yeah, but one thing that we kind of glossed over is there's another way you can get in the industry, and this is how I got into the industry. You guys are self-taught and either educated. I got in the weird way, where I just applied to a job, and they're like, "Hey, this guy knows how to program this one language. Do you think we could teach him another language?" Yeah, sure, why not? And they brought me on to be a junior uh, artist on their team,
Mhm.
and that led me to like, oh man, this guy's pretty good at coding. Let's give him some Unity projects. And so I started learning Unity before Unreal, and I got decent at that, I guess. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna give you a bigger job. And they kind of like, all right, just pile it onto here. And then I got a different job at another studio because fuck that first place. And they said, all right, he already has all this experience in these programs. Let's have him use Unreal a little bit because we use that here. Oh, this guy tells me he hates me.
Why do
Look at
people
the.
hate Thor?
Why do you hate me? But also, I just they just like, okay, this guy, he knows Unity. Let's give him Unreal, see what he learns. And through just a lot of learning and adapting, and also tutorials, they do help. Mostly through Indian people who are talking into shitty mics, and
Oh
they'll
yeah,
fix your problem in 5 seconds.
they
I
really
love those
will.
tutorials. I have
Like
hundreds of those videos saved.
you barely understand what they're saying, but oh,
But I still want to know why this guy hates me. But this guy,
You have
oh,
to
because you got lucky.
I got lucky.
So the
Yeah, fuck
YouTube
you.
channel we're going to be starting up, the Alpha channel, it's going
Yeah.
to aim to kind of mitigate a lot of the issues I have with so many tutorials, which is you'll go searching for a tutorial, and the first 5 minutes of the tutorial, let's just say it's a UV tutorial, they
Mhm.
spend the first 5 to 10 minutes modeling something, which is not what you came for. You came for UVs. Then when they get to the UVs, it's very like over explained, seems confusing, and
Mhm.
then the last like 40 seconds of the tutorial is them actually doing it. So
Yeah.
my aim with the YouTube channel is to kind of make 1 minute to 5 minute tutorials that are only one thing. Like if it's a UV tutorial, you start out with a asset that is, people can download, and they can go and just kind of use that to follow the tutorial with. None of this bullshit where it's extra things. If it needs to be, it'll be split into parts so you can go and find the exact tutorial that you need.
Yeah, and we're pretty skilled in our own separate ways. Like I might not know a lot about modeling, but Polygon and Lumoize know enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Like, and
whereas
if you
Polygon knows fuck all about programming.
yeah, if
I
you
know
need to
like
know how to
5%.
do shader work or integration for like terminology that I can't remember because Thor job is fucking weird. But anything, there's a lot of things that Thor can do that are very niche,
Yeah.
about programming and blueprints in Unreal. Um, anything modeling wise, Poly is a god. Um,
Oh,
I'm decent with
they
level design and texturing.
Yeah. So basically, Thor is gonna be in charge of anything technical. I'll be in charge of things that are like modeling, texturing, lighting for mainly movies is what movies and commercials is what I aim for. Lumoize will do anything kind of Unreal Engine kind of
The simple
le-
stuff.
level design and some modeling texture kind of stuff. And then Fingerman is our kind of, he's our
Blender
he's
boy.
our Blender boy. And, he's kind of like that puppy that we carry around and we show off to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. So look at this. It's neat. Is it human? We don't know.
We don't know.
Speed
I have
modeling.
no idea what I'm making right now. It is.
Yeah, I've been watching your thing. It's odd.
Yeah, I'm trying to just figure out where I'm trying to go with this.
Oh, classic Fingerman.
Why is
Yeah.
the neck so long?
I don't know.
Because he's a giraffe.
Don't say
I just
that he's
want-
gonna make it longer.
No, I'm leaving it here because that requires me to take the time to extend the neck, which takes time.
It
When
takes time.
Yeah. So I gotta.
How dare
I
you
wanna make
spend time doing things?
Ah!
Maybe other topics for the podcast.
Yeah. We're pretty much running. We're just about out of time. Right about where we're going to end it. Next podcast, we're not sure what we're gonna do. We plan to start making an actual script ahead of time of topics we're gonna talk about, and hopefully making it public so people can show up to the streams they want to and don't. Slightly edited, but a edited version of this podcast will show up on the Alpha channel YouTube. It's linked in the biography for this and in the cards below, I do believe. Um, we plan to upload all the podcasts pretty much the Monday after, so in 3 days. But on top of that, that channel is going to be we're going to host the
This guy wants to know our schedule. The schedule? Huh. What's that?
We're working on it. In general, we plan to make most of the podcasts Saturday. Time we're still trying to work out because things change, but planned most of the time Saturday is when we're going to be doing the live podcast. The recorded and edited podcast will be hopefully up every Monday. The tutorial series will be coming out pretty much as we make it. It's not going to be really a planned thing. It's, hey, this is a thing I could make a really quick tutorial for, where we'll make it, upload it, and still be pretty irregular. We have another series we're working on how we're going to handle it, which is going to be called Into the Blender, which is a actual
Stole our name.
It's a planned version of something we already do on the server, where randomly we'll get a bunch of. It's called Into the Blender because it's a joke about Blender users, but any artist and any program can show up, and it's a couple of the admins and any of the professionals reviewing, critiquing, and sometimes shitting on people's artworks and giving them advice on how to fix things, solving some problems people have, giving advice on how to organize portfolios, where to go for training and stuff like that, and just answering a bunch of questions. It'll be a lot more interactive than this is, because this is a very much a just us talking kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we're planning to do that probably once every other week, but that one's a lot more planning we're trying to do. So when we have a plan for that, we'll announce it on the server and in the next podcast when we have actual plan for it.
Yeah, and also if you have questions, just kind of put them on the server. Somebody will answer, I guess.
Oh, definitely. It's pretty good.
Now he has a.
What?
I just finished giving the dude lips.
What to do in a show the lip.
Show your lips.
It's oh boy, oh that's lovely. Oh god.
Oh man.
Just headbutt. Oh.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I like this
he
guy.
now has
Easy.
a
DM
tumor.
Lumoize.
I'm so
Anyway.
happy that. Oh.
So that's wrapping it up. Thank you to everyone who showed up, and thank you to anyone who might be watching this not live. Like I said, it'll be pretty much every Saturday. Other than that, is anything anyone else has to say?
I'm good.
Don't do drugs.
Oh.
Unless it's cool.
Okay, there it is. I was like, wow, good solid advice from Thor.
Why is this not?
If your doctor gives you Tylenol, don't take it.
Smoke meth, hail Satan.
You hear the reason. reason why I'm surprised we're partnered on Discord.
We're gonna get banned.
Yeah, we really are.
Hope you
Anyway,
guys liked episode 1. There's no episode 2, losers.
thanks for everyone showing up. Plan to do this next Saturday, probably around the same time, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. Thank you all showing up, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Goodbye.
Gooby. Uh-huh.